sky. Well, you cry out and you don't know why. Come on now, let your feet fly. Come on now, let's go for a ride. Come on now, let your feet fly. Oh, let it fly. Come on, come on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Red Couch.
Hello.
I'm Ash, that's Izzy, and we got Andrea, the bug girl, on the
Hi.
couch. And we're going to talk about
Anthropology,
punk rock, bugs,
Yeah. That shit.
and dead things in punk rock.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So when did you start doing this? What drew you to the bugs?
I've been a bug nerd since I was a very young girl. I've always loved biology and stuff. This is actually my second career. I
Right.
was a Hollywood nightclub bartender for almost 20 years.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Hollywood?
Hollywood and La Brea. Some
Okay.
big nightclubs, yeah.
I love playing. I play down there a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Sunset.
spend time there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Los Angeles.
Yeah, LA's great. I lived there for 20 years. I'm originally from Philadelphia, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's I miss it sometimes.
I know I miss it. I haven't been down since the pandemic, and I'm kind of going like I'm getting the itch to go back down.
Yeah.
Because we play places like we played the Whiskey, the Rainbow.
That's what I was gonna ask if you
Yeah.
guys. I'm not surprised that those are right now.
And all those places down there, right? And then also where else? To go for something to eat. The deli there. I'm trying to think of that I go to on Fairfax. Cantors, yeah. Love Cantors.
Yeah.
We
They
used
have bands play there too.
to, we used to. They stopped. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. I've been
I
to
think
shows
we were
there.
one of the last bands shows to play there. And then the brothers went to 24 hours. The deli would stay open. So
yeah.
no more bands, no more, right? So they just did
No.
24-hour deli, right? But
That's-
really famous two people
Oh,
play
yeah.
there, right? That
I mean,
Cantors.
that place has been there forever.
I know. It's just
Yeah.
just amazing, right?
There's a really good pizza place across the street too.
There is.
Can't think of what. I used to go there after work at like 4 a.m. Get some food.
Yeah, I mean, LA's great. I like to hear saying I loved LA, so yeah. And
Okay.
you're from Philly originally too.
Let's talk about this. See that? Everybody see that? Yeah, that's a shark.
So did you get into
That's the shop's,
bugs?
mascot.
Did you get into bugs down at the down there? Did that start down there? Where did
Well,
you
no. So growing up,
Right, in Philly.
the urban jungle. I wasn't around a lot of nature, and I went to Penn State for 2 years.
Oh, right on.
Flunked out.
Awesome.
Said, yay. Fuck this. I'm gonna move to Los Angeles and bartend, which I made way more money than I ever will as a scientist. It was a lot of fun. I traveled. I had but I always.
That's not a good sign, right? Like slinging beer, you make more money than a scientist.
But I was like in one of those like swanky like red carpet. Like,
Oh yeah.
It was like
LA's like that.
totally
Yeah.
past life, right? Like now I'm like totally different. I had to do the whole like 9 yards, get dressed up every weekend, work till 3 a.m. But
Yeah. But you enjoyed that kind of life.
Yeah, it was fun.
LA's like that. Like LA's
bottle service,
yeah.
all that crap.
Yeah.
But it, like so all the other bartenders and stuff, they would all be actors and models and whatnot, and I was like, I like bugs. And that was it. So
You stood out, in other words.
Yeah, I was always the nerdy one. And my ex is an actor, and we were together for 10 years, and he would catch me bugs and be like, what's this? And so I started this like bug blog
Right.
in my 30s, just to have like it be like my own little bug journal to
Right.
like, because it's a really lonely passion, right? If you like bugs and you're in LA, like who else likes bugs? Nobody. They're all talking about like their auditions and shit. So I started this bug blog, and it became like super popular, and it's Bug Girl. And on Tumblr, that was back when Tumblr was a thing. I haven't been very active there in a while, but I started meeting people that also like bugs.
Yeah.
And I was in my 30s, so I was like, and I started meeting like actual entomologists, and I was like, wait, this is actually a career. So I decided to go back to get my BS at 35.
Right.
And I finished that, and I did a tropical semester abroad in Ecuador.
Ooh.
Where I did like a little research project, and I came up with this idea about spiders, and that became actually my master's. And then I was like, I really love research.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should get a job that actually pays, and stay in California. But I was like,
Yeah.
I love the National Geographic, going to the jungle every
Yeah,
year.
sure, why
So I
not?
was like, fuck, I gotta do a PhD. So I tried to stay in California very hard. I applied to a bunch of labs, but this lab at UBC, at Leticia Avala's lab, she works with social spiders, and she's Ecuadorian.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, so my heart has been in Ecuador. I've been going there for 10 years. So yeah, so that's my journey to becoming a scientist. It's,
Are those
it's
different
definitely
spiders?
a different.
Are those different spiders because they're so high up?
What do you mean?
Like the altitude in Ecuador?
Oh, yeah, so that's really, exactly. So Ecuador is really an interesting country to work in because it's in the neotropics, it's right on the equator. So it's super, super biodiverse, but because the Andes run like directly through it, you get this gradient of all these different types of ecosystem, which is actually one of my thesis chapters. Not to bore everybody about my science stuff, but yeah, looking at the different along an elevational gradient, like how do spider communities change? So yeah, I study spider webs, which are really fucking cool.
Yeah, they're very.
I wanted to study bugs, but somehow I ended up with spiders, and I'm not complaining, but
No.
they're so amazing.
Spiders are really interesting, right? I mean, like I had when I was a kid, and I lived in the basement of one of my parents' house. The shower had this little hole in the wall, and there's a spider. He always would come out.
He'd become your friend. Did you name him?
I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, and he was always there. I come out from the shower, there he is, right? But my thought was, what happens? How long does he live? When does he, if he dies, is there another one that's going to pop out of that hole? And it was.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I'm sure there was more than one.
Yeah,
Yeah, they all look the same though, right?
Yeah, and so it depends on the species too, because some of them, like most of the spiders you'll find around your house, live like a year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
Some of them are super seasonal, especially up here in Vancouver and in temperate zones. But some tarantulas, like we're in LA. Oh, there's someone. In LA, you can have. There are species of tarantulas, and females can live like 20 years. So it really depends. Yeah,
and that's how long a female lasts in Los Angeles.
Yeah, exactly. And the males live about half the time. So it's
especially if you're actresses.
Yeah.
My brother and I used to have this terrarium in our we lived in the basement of my mom's house too when we were teenagers or whatever. And people would come over and they'd be like, "Hey, what's in the terrarium?" A tarantula. Cool. Where is it? We don't know.
Yeah.
It got out.
One of mine's lives right now
apartment.
too. Yeah, I have one, Carla, and I have 2. I have Andrew and Carla. And yeah, she got out, and I have to find her. But they can go for a really long time.
They're really smart, right?
And they don't need to eat that much,
Yeah,
so.
but they're smart. I hear
They eat people.
I hear they're very smart. Though. Like to get out of the cage,
they're masters of.
Yeah, they're masters.
And so is I have a snake too, and she's just like.
Yeah, what kind of snake you got?
She's a little Annie. She's a little ball python. She's big.
Oh, okay.
She's really cute. She was an impulse buy, so.
Right.
And I have 8 rats. I should have brought my rats.
Yeah, rats are good. Where'd that shark come from?
So, I teach biodiversity and dissections, and sometimes if we just throw out the specimens after my students,
Yes.
I'll be like, let's take that one. Don't
Yeah.
talk
nice.
UBC
No.
or the biosupply. But
UBC
yeah, so that's
doesn't watch this podcast.
Yeah, interesting.
That one's actually not from UBC, but it's from a biosupply. And like the horseshoe crab, that was from one of my students where I taught in California.
I love that thing, man. I sit
It's
here.
one of my favorite animals. Yeah, I think they're so cool.
It's really
And it looks
interesting.
like
a very old animal, right?
Like
Yeah,
a woman's
they're like-
face at the bottom,
Yeah.
Like it's so.
Yeah.
I love
They
it
haven't
so
changed
much.
in
man.
like millions of years.
No,
They've
they
just
haven't
remained-
changed it. They kind of maintained
Yeah.
their. their status the way
Yeah,
they
right.
are, right?
So when you
And spiders
flip 'em,
too.
they're
I mean,
so
like
gnarly
tarantulas. I know, and they're pretty closely. They're closer related to spiders than they are to crabs. Even though we call
Okay.
them crabs, they're not crabs at all.
Because underneath they do look like
Yeah, you can see like they have
Yeah.
the same parts. It's just modified for different reasons.
Right.
So like God, I'm such a dork. But the tail thing.
Awesome, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're not a
You have to
dork.
say that because I'm
No.
Oh,
It's
this is stuff.
I mean, usually we get rock musicians
Yeah, I
and
guess
they
this
sit
is a
there
little
and they talk about guitars. And you're going like, after a while, I've heard this story 5 times. This is really good. I mean, you don't hear this stuff, right?
Ooh, it's funny because my sister will say, "I don't want to learn today, Andrea."
Yeah.
So if I go too much, let me know.
No. That's
So
great.
if you like look at like evolution's amazing. If you look at the tail on it,
Yes.
it's called a telson. But because they're really closely related to arachnids, that body part is the same exact body part as on a scorpion,
Oh, cool.
but it's just modified for a different purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool. Like, don't ask me too much about that because I'm not technically an evolutionary biologist, but
no.
It's wild that you
Ecologist.
bring that up, though. Don't you think that it's crazy that people are calling evolution into question?
Don't even go
Isn't
there.
that,
yeah,
isn't that wild, though?
it's
Or flat Earth
especially
or
being
whatever.
an
right? All
American.
that
Well, you'd
stuff.
think if you
it's-
looked at the animals, you would know the difference, right?
Or if you
Maybe,
didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like
you'd
that's
see
why,
that
like our
first.
like the First Nations people, they
Yeah.
know better, right?
Yeah.
They're closer to the earth, so definitely their
they're more in
ancestors
touch
are-
with nature.
they're
And
more in
same
touch
with the
with nature.
indigenous people of Ecuador as well.
Yeah, I imagine
the
so,
wealth
right?
of knowledge is just
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
you gotta go along with that because we're all, like they say, you're all sentient beings, right?
Yeah.
So we one feeds the other.
Absolutely.
You don't have this, you don't have that. Pretty soon you don't have a planet, right? So
I
you
know,
it's weird like that, right?
yeah, and I try not to get too depressed about it, but especially like with the evolution thing, it's one of those thorns in my side because as an American, like half of our population doesn't believe in evolution. It's like there's nothing really to believe in.
Yeah.
It's
the
science.
science.
It's scientific fact.
Yeah.
It's,
But they haven't learned to separate the science from their belief system.
exactly. It gets in the way of their belief
Where we're
system,
like
and
the
that's
natives,
problem.
like the
And they don't have to be,
It's like the indigenous
Yeah.
people don't do that. They combine it,
exactly. And
which is really smart, right?
Yeah.
I myself, I think it's really smart logic to take ingrain everything as one, right?
because it's life. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's the thing about biology. So evolution, cell theory, those are like the baseline for the
Yeah.
entire field of biology.
Yeah.
Everything in biology makes sense in the light of evolution. You can't. I think that was Darwin that said that. So or someone quoted Darwin. I'm not sure, but
I hear you.
that was not my.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for that.
Yeah, no.
But it's bananas to me. Like no biologist doubts this, but it's because for a lot of people that conflicts with their belief system. And my mom, so I was raised very Catholic in Philadelphia.
Especially
And-
Philadelphia, I was going to say that.
Yeah, and like all girls Catholic high school, atheist now, but my mom.
Atheist high school. Interesting.
Yeah, well, I couldn't tell anybody that at the time. But my mom sent me an article that came out in the Catholic Digest or something. Like after I was living in LA, I was in my 20s, and she wrote to me. She goes, "Oh, Andrea, the Pope came out and said that evolution is true. It turns out that guy you like, Darwin, he was right." I go, "Oh, I'm so glad that the Pope approved."
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, the entire field of biology.
Yes,
Thanks, Pope.
yeah.
And then she was able to accept that it was science and fact. And
Yeah.
Okay, Mom. Very sweet. But
He
yeah,
came out
so
and
it's
said
really
no
difficult.
purgatory, and then he said no hell. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
right? I was looking
Yeah.
forward to that second one, but
Didn't happen.
it's not happening.
No. So anyways, when you said, when we first were talking, the question I want to ask you is behavioral stuff
Mm-hmm.
on animals, right? I find that really fascinating.
oh, I do too. Yeah.
Because I got a Siamese cat upstairs that's about 100 years old. He's
Way more popular than us.
Yeah, he's got like 11,000 views right now.
Oh my God.
just doing this, in front of the camera. But I find, he's got like a really interesting behavior pattern. Like he sort of rules the place, right? Even though I don't think he does, right? You know what I mean? Like he's, you know, like the other day I walked by him the other day, and he's old. He's getting really old, right? You know, so you know he'll squawk. He talks. He's inside me, so he talks, right?
Chatty.
So he's and he's talking, right? And I walk by him, you know, okay, he wants some food, so I give him his food, right? You know, pretty simple behavior pattern. He eats the food. Then I walk away and come back, and he's standing at the edge of the table where the computer is. You know, he likes sitting by the computer. I guess it's warm, I guess. And he's sitting by the computer. I walk by and he swats me. For no reason, like just swats me. And I go, mother of hell, like, you know, what the fuck are you doing?
What did I do? Yeah.
What did I do, right? He just, and I just finished feeding him, and he gives me a dirty look, right? So I was kind of going, what brought that on, right? Like why did
Some sort of communication. He's trying to tell you something.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
what
and
are you trying to say to me, right? You know,
Yeah.
Are you mad at me or you want something? Like I'm not quite sure. You know, most of the time he just wants the food, right? You know, he likes to eat a lot. He loves food, right?
Do spiders have that? Because their head's tiny. Their brain must be so small.
Yeah, I mean, there's.
But the reaction
It's
They
hard.
have brains, right?
Yeah, they have brains, but it's hard to compare. Like, intelligence is such a really difficult thing
that's
because
right.
it's complicated and like.
So some is more behavioral, like for.
Yeah, like they're animals, just like any, you know.
Yeah, so
they're
they have
still.
feelings. There's a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of
and
people.
there's-
I
Can
think
you train a spider?
That was what it was going to be.
Oh, I bet you could.
To a degree. So, for
Yeah,
instance,
like anything.
so I did some data collection. So going up to the webs and using in our papers, we could a handheld vibrational device, and then you have to cite where it's coming. Fun vibes.
No,
blah, blah,
I found
Yeah.
my mom's ones.
That's amazing.
I didn't. Sorry, Mom. I didn't.
Your mom's at home like.
I'm sorry, Mom.
I met your mom.
Yeah.
So,
She's great. I don't know if she has a handheld vibrational device or not.
But yeah, going to the the sex store to buy that. And I had to
Back to the spider.
Yeah.
we were using it to kind of train the spiders into thinking that it was like on different modes, either prey or a predator of some
They
kind.
put it on the
Yeah, on
web.
different settings and stuff, and they can learn to a degree. Now, like how much they're just so different than us that it's
Yes.
really it's hard for us to really know what's going on too, as far as what they're capable of. But even bees,
They must be able to-
and stuff. Oh, and like ants count their steps.
Oh, ants communicate, don't they? Hugely.
Oh yeah, chemically.
Oh man,
So,
I've
so
seen that.
wasp. There's a
Do we do
really
that?
really
Do you
cool
think
story.
we do that?
What's
Like
this?
pheromones and stuff like that? Do we do that?
Oh, I would think so.
I would
Oh,
think so.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
sexually especially. It would matter.
But I think
Yeah.
anyway we do. Yeah. I
Yeah,
really
we're
do.
not as chemically driven as some organisms.
Sure.
Like they're.
But
like,
ants must too, like you said.
They are almost like but they do other things too. So like,
They're
well,
really
wasps
smart.
and ants are really closely related.
I didn't know
and Yeah, they're in the same order. And there was this really cool paper.
They could be assholes, that's for sure.
Oh my god. Ants are the queen of the jungle. I've been stung by more ants,
Oh, I bet.
and I've been stung many times by bullet ants, and that's the number one painful thing.
I
And
bet.
it's like
It's a show
fucking
that getting
awful.
bit by those things.
Yeah,
They must be. They're nasty when they want to be.
It's
They're-
they're a
have
little
they got
bitches,
venom?
but yeah, it's like
Oh,
one of the most
fuck it.
painful venoms to get stung by. So, and
They're
only,
stubborn
only
as
girls
hell.
can sting because the stinger is so any ant that you'll see that you'll recognize as an ant is a female. All the workers are female, and anything with a stinger is a female.
So where's the males?
the males are there.
Like the soldiers? Are they the soldiers?
Those are female. All female.
So
for
who
ants.
scraps?
The girls.
Yeah, it's
The girls. So
It's the girls are the queens. That's why I said queens of the jungle, not kings of the jungle. So
Right.
That's dope.
it's
That is
really
interesting.
cool.
I didn't know
And yeah, so the stinger.
Wow.
I'm going off on tangents.
Go.
No, it's
Steven's
really
complaining
good.
about this all the time. The stinger evolved as and it's an egg laying organ,
Yeah.
and and that's what insects use them for. And
Yeah.
in certain groups, it evolved to deliver venom,
Wow.
either into their prey or as a defense. So yeah, so that's why I'll.
I guess she does. I did tell. I got 2 frogs too.
Oh yeah, what kind of frog?
The little ones, little tiny ones.
Oh,
I
that's
got
cool.
from the pet store. One's gray and one's an albino.
Are they aquatic?
Yeah, they go up.
Yeah, I think I know which ones.
Then they go straight up, they come down for air, and they hang around. Then I was telling him, I caught them scrapping. The 2 of them were scrapping one day. The big gray one was biting the leg of the albino and pulling on him. Yeah, he's pulling on him, right? And I'm going like, hey, stop it, right? And then he, I hit the glass a bit, and then finally he lets go. Then the albino takes a lunge at the gray.
There you go, more
I was
animal
told
behavior.
that all albinos are magical. Is that true?
And then I have one of those Chinese fighting fishes, right? And the gray frog took a stab at him, right?
Oh, the beta fish?
The female,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
beta,
the beta, okay.
and the beta went like, she goes, you don't realize the beta has like little teeth. Like I didn't realize that. I looked real close
Yeah,
up.
they
She's
can
got
be-
little teeth. She's mean as hell, right?
Yeah, they can. And
But she
especially
leaves the
males,
frogs
too.
alone. She's gotten known to frog. Since she's been, at first the frogs would go up there, she would chase them up and follow them. And then now she just frog flies, walks right, swims right by her. She just, whatever, right? She goes, yeah, I know you now, right? I don't care, right? But yeah, it's interesting. Like the 2 frogs were scrapping, and then I finally put the food in, and then they both like, okay.
I wonder why. Yeah.
I didn't know why that was happening.
How big are those bullet ants?
I wish I.
They're big.
I would have brought it. Do I have any?
Like how big?
I don't think I have.
Like
any.
if you were to go.
They're like this. They're
Oh,
big.
big boys.
So that's why
Big
it hurts.
girls. Yeah.
Big
And that's why it
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah. It's
What do the boys
awful.
do? They're just
They're-
lazy.
With that species, I'm not sure they're
Mate, probably just the
produced a certain
Maybe.
time of year, and they don't live long. Like in the case of like honeybees, for instance,
Yeah.
because I don't want to say anything incorrect about bullet ants specifically, but like in the case of honeybees, the
We're
males
not
are
fact checking.
Well, I have a reputation as far as the bug girl. I have to.
No, we're not.
But
Fair.
they're produced at a certain time of the year. They leave the nest, and males are only produced. This is a whole other. They have half the genetic material. It's this whole interesting system, but they're produced specifically to mate. They go find new queens from other hives.
Yeah.
They mate, and when they mate, their genitalia explodes and it kills them. And that evolved, which is really fucking interesting, in order to form a mating plug in, like, essentially her vagina, which is not really a vagina, but similar. So other males can't mate with her because a lot
Exploded
of
inside her.
it blocks sperm from other males.
You just blows a cork right in her.
Yeah,
So
and
then,
males,
then
Whoa.
Wow.
because a lot of insects and spiders can store sperm their whole lives. So
Wow.
it makes sense that you would want to block,
Another-
other males from
Yeah.
also having
entry,
sperm
yeah.
and mixing in. It's all
So it's all genetics. So that's all
Sperm,
genetically
yeah.
smart.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Sperm
Whoa, you heard it
competition.
here. You heard
Yeah.
it first, people.
Or
Maybe you've heard it before. I don't
There's
know.
that's
like
pretty
so
good.
many random
Wow.
really cool facts about evolution that are really, really cool. And insects and spiders are going to have the wackiest shit that's going to evolve because they've been around so long.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes,
spiders
yeah.
are like 300 million years old, so it's like
Well,
that's
a long
wild.
time
That's
to evolve
wild.
some really
So they've
wacky
survived on
stuff.
the planet for a really long
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah.
That's unreal, especially with all the kind of conditions we've had, right?
Mhm.
You got to think about that too, and we're still going through that now.
They're one of the most diverse too. So, well, insects are definitely the most diverse group of organisms in the world. We have like over, I don't know the exact number now, but it's over 1 million described species of insect.
Right.
There are more species of beetle alone than everything else combined. Like that's insane.
Wow,
Like
wow.
it's bananas.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. Like the biodiversity, especially where I work in Ecuador, like you were talking about like the different ecosystems and like in the Amazon in particular, the diversity is just like
Must
it's
be huge.
it's incredible. And there are 50-something thousand species of spider
Wow.
described now.
Wow.
There's different estimates of how many.
50? How many?
50,000 over.
50,000.
And just to put it in perspective, there are only 5,000 mammals around. 5 to 6,000.
Whoa.
So like, and
Wow.
we probably
they'll base us
all the
by-
mammalogists in the audience are like, ah.
Well, I wonder if that's
We
why
probably already
like the
described
alien
most
movies
of them.
and stuff, they look so insect-like.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a better chance, right?
Yeah, it's it's
They wouldn't look
so
so much
many,
like us.
yeah, and like look at like so many of the horror movies that are, you know, inspired by like parasitoid wasps that take a tarantula and, you know, inject it, paralyze it, bury it, and then it lays an egg inside the tarantula, and its young will literally eat every part of the body, but start with the least vital organs first, like the fat, and because it keeps the spider alive longer.
Whoa.
Of course.
And so the babies, wasps
Smart.
have, you know. I wonder if
Wow,
any of
wow.
those.
So they must have figured that out somehow.
It's just, yeah,
No,
it's
it's-
evolution.
yeah,
It's
Or
just,
some magic.
yeah,
Survival-
it's,
survival.
exactly. Go
Yeah.
up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it's survival. It's like
It's,
survival.
yeah,
right?
it's just
That is
natural
amazing.
selection, just
Wow.
how that happens. It's pretty incredible.
That's
No
wild.
kidding, you
Yeah.
became into that, man. That's epic.
It's weird and fun and
It is, and
And
and you'll
look,
never learn it. Like that's like the one thing I love about my job. It'd be nice if they paid me more, and that if I had, you know, job security after I finish my PhD. If anybody's hiring, looking for a postdoc or teaching at a university here, I'm renewing my visa this week. Hopefully Canada doesn't kick me out, but
they won't.
Yeah, but if they do, maybe Trump will kick you out anyway and you'll be back.
Yeah,
sure. Oh
So
my god.
that'd be
I
nice.
had
Yeah.
to Google. I'm so bad, but I had to Google that today. I'm like, when do we find out? I think tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the day, yeah.
Well, we won't know tomorrow. A few days after.
Yeah, they said sometimes it depends.
We'll see the smoke from here.
We'll see tomorrow. Hopefully he doesn't get in. No offense, but
I mean,
I can't take no more of it. It's after a while. It's just like, fuck.
well, it's gonna
Guy
be
whines
even
and bitches so much.
if, no,
You know,
he's
it's
a
like-
disgrace. And
He's a whiner. Like, no
I
offense,
know.
for I've got friends who will vote for him.
Well, but it was
yeah,
really different
in
before, right?
Philadelphia, I do, not in LA.
Yeah,
He's not Ronald
Um,
Reagan, right? He's
Exactly.
Not, right? He's
And
a
so,
little-
like my
he's
father
not,
was.
but-
nibbling little crybaby.
Yeah.
Reagan had been in a fight, you figure. He'd hit somebody.
He's
at
not.
Some point in his
Yeah,
life.
he's a new. It's and
He's a
it's
whiner. He's just, you know what it is? It's a guy who's like,
horrible person,
you know what?
too.
He could speak the loudest and
The
you
women
know,
like him.
Women hate him.
Oh, that's an
Well, some, yeah.
Well, right now they do. Like,
Yeah,
it's
like
changed the vote right from today. I watched it today that there's a big surge going on with women.
So I hope so.
Oh yeah, they're pissed. They're pissed.
Yeah.
They're like, that's enough. We've had
Yeah,
enough
we'll
of
see
you.
Yeah.
We just
Going
had enough
after
of you. Like,
reproductive
can you just roll
rights.
away?
Yeah, I mean it's
You know, like-
crazy.
We
I
thought
mean-
Hillary was a lock, though, man.
Yeah, but that's different timing. He's already been.
People
he's,
know now. Yeah.
Well, the only thing about that, and I will drop it. Is the only thing I think is that what I don't get is he's what 78 years old.
yeah.
They don't want Joe anymore because Joe
Yeah.
is too old,
Too
right?
old.
And I understand that, but
Yeah.
in 4 years he's going to be where Joe is now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so
He'll be beyond
and
it.
so why would you want to have him in 4 years from now? His last year, he won't be able to run the place anyways because he'll be if not worse, because he's in worse shape than Joe
Yeah.
Biden is. He eats McDonald's like no offense to McDonald's, but he eats like every day he eats McDonald's, right?
He's a
You know what I mean?
disgrace to my
Oh,
country for
yeah,
sure.
There it
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know about this stuff. He said that you have energy like a battery. If you use it all up, that's it. No more energy.
That's right.
Can you confirm that?
I've never heard this. Wait,
It's the
that's
most
what he's.
that's what he said.
he's-
Yeah. That's why he doesn't exercise.
Oh, I see. I didn't understand the context.
That's
He's been honest. And like living here, well, during the pandemic, it was a really difficult time for everybody, but like living in a different country with California plates
Yes.
during the pandemic
Oh.
and during
Oh, yeah, right.
a Trump, it was like, you know, most Canadians are lovely. Don't get me wrong. I love East Vancouver. I like it now. It took me a
East
while.
Vancouver.
And I actually was living in this neighborhood during the pandemic, and like it was like the first time that I've ever had like some people saying terrible things to me simply because I had American
Sure.
plates.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I live in a different country, obviously, and I have California plates. Obviously, I didn't vote for him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And like,
No
obviously,
kidding.
I didn't cross the border. The borders are closed. So like, I had to put a sign on my car, like, I'm here for my PhD. stop like telling me to go back to where I came from,
Yeah,
and don't
shit.
key my car again, or call bylaws on me. I'm your neighbor. You know, it was a really difficult time. So like,
It was
I'm
very
like,
tough times.
and it's tough for everybody, and I understood that. And like I said, most people are lovely, and people are assholes everywhere. But like,
Very scary.
I don't want him to win again and be up here too. But it's like half of us are cool, and I think it's
Way
just
more than half the Americans I know are cool.
I think that's true.
Like,
Yeah,
You know what it is? It's just politics is polarizing.
Yeah, dude.
especially now.
And
like,
even
yeah.
up here in Canada, it's
I heard it's becoming more polarizing here as well.
It is,
right?
it is, it is.
Yeah,
It's the
because
same
you've
thing.
always been more
Well, I think that the big difference
moderate across
is
the board. I guess
sure.
we've become more
Like our
divided.
most right wing party is so far left of the Democrats, it's not even funny. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way to look at it. The other thing here that's different than there is if they drop the writ and there's going to be an election, it's in a month. It's not
It's shorter here, yeah.
right. It's not
That's
like
the good part. It's shorter, so you don't
yeah.
have to put up with it for
a month, six
Oh, and
weeks,
it's not.
whatever.
Is it as much of a fucking show with the?
No.
It is. It is. It
And
depends who's in.
Well, it's a bit of a show. It's not like that.
Not that big of a show, but it can be. If like this one will be with the conservative guy
Oh, yeah,
because he's
probably.
more like Trump.
Yeah.
So he's very his policies will be very like
What's his name?
Polyev.
Polyev,
Okay,
French
yeah,
guy,
I've
yeah.
heard him. Yeah.
And then he's going to be more like Trumpish because he's going to cut stuff, and he's going to cut like healthcare. He's going to cut stuff that is going to
Healthcare is pretty important.
yeah, and he's going to
Yeah.
cut to most people, right? Even in the
Yeah, yeah.
States, yeah. So he's going to cut shit, and he's going to pull a lot of American stuff, and because that's where he goes far. He's more far right than
Yeah.
We both
which
worked
is
for decades in healthcare too.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, then-
yeah. So he's going to go far right, and then the liberals, Trudeau is just like it's funny you say all that. Before we move on, in my building, these two people live upstairs in my building, and I bumped into them one day, and they were going to the car and going to go shopping, and I said to them, oh, I'm so and so and so, and we're talking. Yeah, we see you in the building. How are you and stuff. And I says, what do you do for a living? To the guy, and because the girl was a teacher, and I says, what do you do for a living? He goes, he says, I don't know if I should say it to you, how you feel about politics. And I says, I'm fine. I says, I'm good, go ahead. He says, I'm a political, I work for a policy who forms policies for the governments that are in power. So what they do is they research. They go around and they research, come to you and me and Ash and everybody there, and they come to us and they say, okay, what's important to you? So they mark down all these policies, he says.
So they collect like data
They
on.
collect data,
okay, yeah.
and then they collect the data, and then they form an opinion. And they give it to the government in power so that they can put out their policy platforms and stuff. And that's how
So
it's done also
manipulative.
in the States. It's
Yeah.
done the same way in the States. So I went, oh, I said, that's all right. He says, it's a job. I says, hey, it's not, he doesn't politically decide what side he's on, right? He himself, didn't tell me that.
He's almost like a data scientist. That's
Yes, yeah, he's collecting data, and then they take the data, create a policy, and they send it to, say, the Liberals government, or whoever's in power. Like he said, they send it to Ottawa. Ottawa develops the policies, and they put that on the platform.
That's also
and
sketchy though
that's
too.
how they do it.
Because I worked in research for a long time too, and
That's how they do it.
in mental health and addictions, and a lot of those numbers that came in, I knew those were skewed. I knew they were off when we got them.
Oh,
You
sure.
know what I mean? Yeah.
And then but what I'm trying to say is, so when you look
agenda.
at, so when people
Yeah.
go and look at like Trudeau or Polyev or whatever those guys are in power, or Trump or Harris, those people are being led by policy people who create they just push the policies out.
Yeah.
They
And
just
they're
say,
like
they
a
just say, and then they-
figurehead in a way. but-
That's what they get paid to do.
Yeah.
They get paid to be the one up front that's going to take the shit either way, right? Good or bad, they're going to accept the good and they're going to take the bad too at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I mean. So that's how the government's run.
Sure.
That's how politics is run. So all based on what the the society sort of wants, and then they take it and they tweak it, right?
Yeah.
I don't like the tweaking part, because the tweaking part makes me think like, okay, I tell you something and then you take it, you twist it to how you think it should go. Like, well, I didn't ask you, tell you to do that. You know, I gave you a basic idea, like I want healthcare, or I want this, I want this for the folks, you know, and that. And then they I guess
that would come to you too, because if science isn't real, then your funding is going to go. I mean,
Okay, I mean, well, I think,
you gotta watch stuff like that.
yeah,
right?
like, yeah, I think,
That's political.
If people-
definitely, like, well, I don't work
Science.
in, like, health
no,
research,
for sure.
but, like, the
But people
NIH
don't
was
believe-
slashed.
People
There
don't
is,
believe
yeah.
science, man.
And that's a problem too, yeah, science.
That's a problem with society. Yeah.
Exactly, and this is taking a little bit of a left turn, but like one of my side passions is science communication for the general public, and that kind of stemmed from my like online presence with my blog and stuff, and I run like a really nerdy Facebook group that's called Spiders and Bug Questions with the Bug Girl. Bug Girl, one word, that's me. And I started that because I would get like messages on like Facebook, like, is this from moms? I'm not even a mom. And I would get messages like, is this spider gonna kill my kid? And I'd be like, no. And then I was getting so many messages that I started this just to answer questions. Because I was like, I can't be like, you know, answering all these messages all. So just start a group. So they started a group for me, and it grew. It's like 30,000 people, I think now.
Whoa.
And it's amazing. And like it's this whole network of other groups on Facebook as well. Like there's one called Entomology. It's a huge one. There's mine, and we all the admins, we work together, and like we call it Bug Book. And we've presented at conferences. Actually, we're here in Vancouver one year as well at that big entomology conference. And like it's like entomology and biology is for everyone. And like in those groups and the effort that some scientists and some experts that are just, you know, I don't like to use the word amateur, but because they are experts, but they're not academics.
Yeah, right.
But they know insects really well. Like some of my group members are just incredible with their skills. And like it's just like the shared passion and the number of people that will go into this group, and just as a silly example about spiders, be like, I used to smush them. And I used to run screaming or whatever the case may be. And now instead of running away from them, I'm running to get my camera so I can take a picture.
Very cool.
To find what it is in the group and talk. And it's like, that's nature, and talking about, you know, misinformation. And like even the...
Plus, if you step on a spider, it rains.
And so much of the misinformation too, of like myths of like, you know, like learning how, and like to communicate to people who aren't scientists, like, how to recognize credible sources.
Yeah.
Because if you go, you know, if I could say, I'm doing my PhD in arachnology, you might be like, man, some people are like, no, I'm not going to believe you. But like, if you can communicate in a way that isn't coming from this place of being a snob or an academic or whatever, and you can hone your skills. And you can learn how to talk about science in a digestible manner. Which I've done both. I'm like a late comer scientist, so like I have been, you know, trained to talk because I was an amateur for so long. And you see this like change in like that learning, you know, how to find credible sources, even if it's through the avenue of, no, that's not a ground recluse. And let me show you how to find out what types of articles or who, you know, who to believe, because if you just Google brown recluse Canada, it's going to come up all over the place. My cousin's blah, 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 lost a leg, and it's like, first of all, that's not how it works. Or I got bit by a black widow and I got it in my skin. And I'm going, first of all, a black widow has, you know, neurotoxic, blah, blah. But if you can communicate those things, it's going to bleed into other, like, policy. Recognizing, oh, wait a second, this seems like bullshit, and it seems like it's biased, or it seems like it's an agenda, or this website isn't a credible source. Like, I'm not going to listen to some pest management's
Yeah.
website, because they have their own biases about wanting to spray for spiders when that's never, I'm just using silly examples,
Sure.
No, I hear you.
it does get people, regardless of whether you're a scientist or not, or whatever you do, to really, like, voters to,
Yeah.
And that's a good way to look at the world anyway. Bonnie and I, hi Bonnie. Bonnie and I were talking about that today. Like, so many things are just top down, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is the way it is, but that isn't. That's no way to behave.
it's critical thinking and like
You want to
yeah.
open other people's eyes to what the possibilities are in the world, because it's pretty wonderful.
I think. Well, yeah, especially when you're talking about it. We were talking a bit there about animal behavior, and it has no limits compared to us, where we kind of put limits on everything, right? We have our opinions, where with animals there is no opinion about it. They behave in a certain manner for a certain reason, right?
Yeah, I would argue we do too.
Yeah, we do too.
We are animals. Yeah.
I mean, but we're a little more opinionated about it. You know what I mean?
True.
You know what I mean? I think we
I don't think you could sway a spider.
I think the spider's made his mind up
think
about
the
how he
spider's got his
behaves.
plan,
How he
man.
behaves, but he knows how.
I don't
he knows
know.
how to interact, though, right? You know what I mean? Like I said, that
Yeah,
spider
I
said.
think there's still decision making, and like so.
Whoa.
With
Yes, I think
jumping
you're right.
spiders,
Yeah.
as an example, it's everybody loves jumping spiders because they're like the kittens. They have these big eyes, they're cute, they look up at you. Like people that are like, oh, I don't like spiders except jumping spiders, but they're very charismatic looking. But they are some that, like, any animal has some level of decision making
Yeah.
because of an outside stimulus, and there's
Yeah.
variation, even like, I use the term loosely, but like personalities.
Yeah.
Some individuals are going to have
Yeah.
be more bold or whatever the case, and that's going to have consequences on the decision making process. And it's really interesting. Like going back to so mammals for the most part, we have big brains, especially across the board. Like generally speaking, in the animal kingdom, mammals tend to be more intelligent, because they have bigger brains and more surface area, more, we have a lot of those foldy things, whatever.
More synapses.
Brain, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and sociality, we're a social organism, that tends to lead to more intelligent organisms. So we're a good example of that. But rats are an excellent example
Smart,
of that.
very smart.
Oh my God. They're smarter than dogs. They're incredible. I learn from my rats almost day to day. But because they have this like super, there's a researcher at UBC, she runs I think it's the Vancouver Rat, it's a big research project on how diseases are transmitted, especially in downtown Eastside. And they were looking at like I hope I quote her research correctly, went to one of her talks, it's fascinating because I love rats. And they were looking at like disease. Rats is a vector for disease in downtown Eastside and other parts of Vancouver. And they would go around and they were looking at whether or not massive cullings of whole populations of rats was an effective measure to, lower disease transmission from rats to people. And what they found was really interesting. If you take populations of rats and you kill, let's say, 75% of them, or a huge amount of whatever.
Yeah.
What you end up doing is actually making that population, because of their fast generation time and their social structure and their intelligence, you're only going to target the bold ones. So that next time you do a massive culling, it's not going to be as effective, and you're allowing the shyer or the more intelligent ones, or whatever the case may be, to pass on their genes. So you're completely altering the social structure of those populations.
Oh wow!
In a really short amount of time, because they have like crazy amounts of babies and stuff. But so like, it's an interesting thing to think about. Just the level of intelligence and the variation of different animal behavior and decision making.
And
stuff like that.
And how they process that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you the other day, I was walking home.
Oh yeah.
And come out of the bush, was a huge raccoon. And he kept coming at me.
Oh,
I never had that happen before. Raccoons will walk by me or, you know,
they'll mostly want to...
or stand like this and I walk
Or
by
look
them.
there,
And they don't do much, right? I mean, you know, they're where I'm there and they sort of hold their ground and I respect that, so I walk away from it. This guy was walking towards me and I'm going like, it's like 2 a.m, I'm going home. I went, what the fuck? And the guy kept coming at, so I act big, like, okay, act big like you would do a bear.
Yeah, sure.
Bah! He kept coming.
Yeah. Some of them.
And I just went, fuck you. Like, sorry folks, I'm fuck you. And he didn't flinch, he walked the other way. Just started walking, instead of walking towards me, he stopped and went across the road. But he moved real slow, like, you know, he didn't like run, he just went, okay, whatever, right? Walked away. But I was like, I never had a raccoon do that. I never had walk right, like he had me in his sight and he goes, I'm coming for you, or gonna come towards you. And I'm kind of like going, oh man, I don't know if I want you coming near me, right? Because you're kind of big.
They are big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a colleague of mine, and she's doing her PhD, just like a advertising for my department.
And they're smart too.
Oh yeah, real smart. So what they study is the cognitive learning of raccoons, and they have reached out. This is actually in the East Hastings like neighborhood group. I think I made a post about it. She was asking people if she could come put puzzles out in their yard if they knew that they had, and she's collecting data on like I think it's like the different cognitive abilities of
what they can do.
Like the variation of intelligence within raccoons and decision making and all that stuff. It's really interesting. If you Google raccoons, and she has a whole, I think a YouTube video. Hannah Greenberg is her last name. UBC raccoons puzzles, it'll come up. It's really cool, and it's all local.
Yeah, because I watched
really cool research being done.
When I used to live in my other house just up the street here, we have like a forest in the backyard. We have like 8 trees, right? 6 trees, huge trees. So the raccoons would of course come to our backyard all the time because they'd be up in the tree. So they would a lot of times come up and they would hunt the crows.
Oh wow!
And they would eat the crows. They'd climb up the tree and I hear the crows.
Like the baby crows?
No, like they go after like the full crow and growing up out of the crow. And they climb right up in the tree and they would grab the crow and the crow would be screaming, right? And then the crows would start coming around like to try to defend him, right?
Oh, that's crazy.
And then like
talk about smart.
When my mom was alive, my mom one day goes, you gotta go and save the crow, right? You know? And I'm looking at her going, are you nuts? Are you nuts? I said, are you crazy? She goes, look, you go in the backyard, he's got the crow by the throat and he's killing it, right? I said, yeah, it's his supper for heaven's sakes.
Yeah,
she goes, well, that's not right. I says, Mom, that's
it's hard, I know.
That's life, right? Like
it is, yep.
I says, just like let it go. You don't have to watch it. Just leave.
And you don't want to interfere with natures too, like stuff like that. Like you have to. It is difficult. Like
I couldn't believe they eat the crows like that.
Like I have a snake,
crows.
but I also have 8 rats. And my snake eats rodents, like frozen, but thawed. But
what about the rats? Now that you got dizzy.
Push comes to shove.
They don't. Well, she's still too small.
Yeah, she hasn't gotten big enough yet.
Yeah, she'd be no match for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're in a completely different room. The
Yeah.
rats have a huge cage, but they do get outside time. Like, I have one boy, Ralphie, who I love dearly. He sleeps with me every night. I'm so bonded to him, more so than I ever have. Like, I love my dogs and stuff. Yeah, my bond with him, he's amazing. He's an incredible little animal. It weighs a pound. It's absolutely incredible.
How smart they are too. Like you said, I know you're nothing but really smart things about them.
And like each one of them, you were talking about being sentient beings. Like anyone who's owned rats, there's no way that you can't. Like the difference in its personality.
My rat and my brother's rat, his rat was a dick.
Most of them are cool, but
my rat was
I had one that was kind of a dick, but
Andy's rat was a bit of a dick.
Animals
are like that too.
They're just like people. Like this is my cat upstairs, Sky. He can be really nice, but he can be a total asshole.
Yeah, you get moods,
He's very moody. I tell him not to do something, he does it anyways.
And they all, have different likes and dislikes, and they form friendships, and sometimes they don't like each other.
I have
It's
this big Russian blue cat, and we call him Blue, of course, right? And he would go in the house. He'd go upstairs, and when I was living in the basement, watching my mom getting older, I was watching after. And anyways, he'd go upstairs, right? And she'd be there, and she goes, "You watch it, you behave, Blue." And he'd go up to the wallpaper and go look at her and smile, strip, and take a strip right up. Rip the shit out of it, right? And then he'd run down the hallway. And my mom's going, "You asshole!" And I said, "Don't say anything like that. He won't do it." I said, "You mentioned it. Don't wreck anything." First thing he goes is, "Okay, I'm gonna wreck something, right?" It's just a jerk, right?
Like children.
Yeah, like a child, right? And then he would answer the phone. He would take the phone to ring, and the old rotary phones, and he'd take it off the
That's so funny.
He'd take it off the hook, and he'd listen in to the conversation that's going on. He did wild things, or jump on the chandelier. One time I'm right on the chandelier, Mom's just freaking, the chandelier's gonna come down off the wall. I'm going
talking me out of wanting to foster a cat.
Yeah.
Thinking, I'm like, I don't want a cat.
Yeah, but he was crazy. He was just the only way she got him to calm down is she actually put a leash on him, and she walked him like a dog.
That's amazing.
And he'd walk, and he loved it. He'd go outside and he'd walk, and he'd act like a dog.
Yeah, some of my rats I'll bring to the liquor store with me.
I bet, yeah.
It just depends on which one.
Up at the High Point?
That one sometimes.
They're filthy punk rockers. They would love to that.
The one, the First Street, because I used to live I was on Kitchener.
Yeah.
So that was my regular, and so if I went in there, right after work or whatever, and
They're
they
really
have the
nice.
rats, they're so nice. They would get, I think the person's name was Maddie, with the one person. They would get mad at me. Where's Stewart? I'm like, I came right from, I don't have him with me today. But and when I would bring him in, I'd just be like, he was one that we would just hang out with anybody. He was great with all people. He'd just pass them, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go shop. Here's my rat. And they just loved it. Yeah.
That's
you
pretty
here?
cool. No, I'm good. And what I was going to say, talking about that too, there's a guy who goes to the coffee shop up here, Laughing Bee, and he comes in with an iguana.
Oh yeah,
It's about
cool.
this big.
Those are
It's
huge.
huge.
That's a
It's
cool
really
animal.
huge, right?
Yeah.
And I said to him one day, I says to him, "Hey, can you pet the iguana? Is your iguana friends?" He says, "Right now he's all orange and bright colors.
Oh.
He's not happy."
Mm.
He said, "No touching now. When he's all greenish and he's calm, like a lighter color,
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
That's what he said. He said it's the colors. You could tell by the colors how he's behaving, right? Yeah.
It's like a signal. Yeah,
It's like a warning, like a
different
signal.
form of communication.
Yeah.
So I think that probably Ecuador is your favorite bug hunter place, right?
Yeah.
Where, if you could go anywhere bug hunting, where would you go?
Aside from Ecuador, maybe Madagascar.
Whoa, yeah, wow, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were
I have
all
a
those
friend that's
bugs.
there right now,
all
and I'm
warped
so
out.
jealous.
How about
Yeah.
Australia? They have everything.
Australia, I have not
They
been to
have
Australia
everything.
yet.
They have everything.
Yeah, I would like to see.
100 different bugs. They have.
100,
What,
probably
snakes?
a million.
Yeah.
They have snakes galore.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
just
dude.
wild. I watched the thing
I
on
love it, yeah.
They're
I would
one
like
of the
that
countries
too,
that have
yeah.
the most dangerous bugs and snakes in the world. They do.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fun though. I mean,
it is. I mean, snakes. I would be. There are some that I'd be worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I'm in the working, people are like, "Aren't you scared of spiders and snakes?" I'm like, "No, you just gotta watch where you put your hands."
I don't like spiders and snakes.
You
But
just gotta be
snakes,
careful.
you gotta be careful.
Snakes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
If
was
you
told that-
accidentally step on one or something like that can be a problem.
Yeah.
But for me, I have two things I'm scared of in the jungle the most is tree falls, because that shit is scary.
Oh, a tree falling.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they fall all the time because they're so tall and skinny.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as soon as it starts getting windy, I have to grab
Well,
my
Bonnie and I are
assistants, we
working
go
on the
right back,
trees
yeah.
the last couple of days because all these trees are falling.
It's yeah,
Because the
yeah.
environment's fucked and they don't. All their roots are getting fucked.
Yeah,
There's not
yes,
enough
that's the
water.
problem, yeah.
So fucked.
But yeah, no, because I was saying, because there's that show on TV I watched all the time, and it's a new one, and it's out of India, and so they're showing the snakes. They're doing these guys are they're taking the snakes and out of dangerous situations, and if they're in the city or in somebody's home.
Oh, good. So like,
Yeah, they rehabilitate,
Yeah.
take them, right?
Oh, like a cobra in your
The
bedroom.
cobra, I saw the king cobra. Holy
Those guys
mother! No, this was like
Yeah.
a mature one, and this guy was like that long,
Yeah, they're
maybe,
so big.
and so
Yeah.
big. And when he stood
they're
up,
gorgeous.
beautiful. He
Yeah.
stood up his hood, and he's just like. And I was just watching the guys going like, "You gotta be really careful. The striking is so fast.
Yeah.
It's so fast you can't even." He says, they were like,
Who's that? Carmine Appice had that band, King Cobra, remember?
yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Anyway.
the guy who does
Beautiful animals.
the guy does a show. He's like really respectful of like all the
I guess he best be.
Oh, he has to. His wife is scared shitless. Right? She admits it. She goes, "Holy smoke!" She goes, "I let him do these ones. Like these ones are like the big ones are like not my cup of tea, right? I want to stay clear of these things." But it's a good show because he's also talking
I'll
about.
have to look that up. Yeah, I don't know.
And it's also about there was a couple snakes that were non-venomous, but the people were freaking out, and he didn't want the people to kill him, so then
exactly.
he pick him up and he show up. He goes, "No, don't worry
And
about
that goes
this.
back, like what we were talking
This
about
is the
before.
difference how they
About,
look."
Yeah.
like we have a really corny, our like tagline in our group is the more you learn, the less you squirm, and it really
Yes,
is
probably
true.
Yeah,
so.
right.
The more you learn about, even animals that do have venom that can harm you. Like spiders, it's like so blind proportions, it's ridiculous. But snakes, for instance, like if you respect an animal, the odds of anything happening are going to be low. The people who are trying to kill those animals are going to be the ones who get bit.
And we're all jumped up about it since Adam and Eve, right?
Or I had a friend once. I don't know if I lived in East Van,
That's why my
and
mom.
he had a crocodile.
Right.
He had back in the days when you could have you could have animals in your home, like endangered animals even, right? Like ocelots and all kinds of stuff. And my buddy had a crocodile, and it was this big. And it grew. He got it this big. It grew to this big and this wide, and he had it in the backyard. I'm not kidding you, where the pool was. And what ended up happening was, in the end, was that it was eating the dogs and the cats. Because the dogs and the cats got interested, right? They would see him out there, and they would...
What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, climb over the fence, and here comes dinner, right? And eventually, he had to get rid of it. He gave it to the aquarium. The aquarium
He's
the
lucky
aquarium
that
took
they
it.
took it.
They were back then. They were like, okay, we'll take this because this is dangerous. They said this is getting dangerous. You
gotta. What if a kid goes in there?
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah.
So
And those animals like that, like you don't know if you want them for a pet, right? Because like those guys are pretty pretty. They're pretty old, but they're pretty. As far as time goes, like, and so they're very.
Oh yeah, dinosaurs.
And they live forever too. So it's and they get huge. It's like
Yeah, they get big. I wouldn't want. I would.
It's such a status thing almost too.
Oh yeah, you would have.
Because people have like tigers and shit. Really?
Yeah, crazy. Have you seen that documentary on that
Yeah,
lady,
I did,
the chimpanzee?
No, I haven't seen that one. I saw the tiger one.
You haven't seen the chimpanzee
No,
one?
was that the one that ripped off that woman's face?
No, the guy's face.
The guy's face. Oh, that's what.
Yes, he ripped off the guy's face. He chewed it off.
Insane. When I was in
Can you
under.
believe it? And this lady still was in love with this chimpanzee. She's in love, she says, with these monkeys, and it is bananas. And she.
No pun intended. That wasn't even on purpose.
That's
I
good.
not it. Yeah, I
No,
was
it's
going to do that.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of myself. I keep looking at your ring, the emerald of this one.
Yeah,
That's gorgeous.
So she.
And yours is a spider web.
Yeah.
Oh, mine's, this is a
love
local
that.
artist, Inner Wolf Jewelry.
What?
She's really.
Where is she
talented. She's I don't know if she's in East Van, but she's in Van.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know her from some of the.
That
markets
sounds
and
familiar.
stuff.
But anyways, I just like it kind of blew my mind. Like people would have animals like that all those years ago, right? You know?
Oh, that's interesting. So this.
In Texas.
But my dad,
And
and
then
my,
you just mentioned the markets, so you must have a bunch coming up for Christmas.
Only one, and I'm really excited. It's the big one. It's the Weirdos Market.
Oh, good.
It's right here at Russian Hall.
oh, good.
And my Karen, who you know, the
Yeah.
Pepper Nest, and I are both gonna have
Good.
a booth all 6 days. So I'm really
Dude.
excited. Yeah, we had a little meetup yesterday at Rachel's. She's the founder of it.
Cool.
At her place, and it was like
Wow.
Of all the art shows that we've
artists
had
and
here,
stuff,
and we've
so-
had
Well, I
a
mean,
lot
this
of
is
art
fantastic. This is fantastic.
shows. Your stuff and her stuff.
You know what?
By
You know,
far.
you know what's cool?
Thank you.
You know what's cool about this is like it's kind of like it's how can I put it? What am I trying to say? It's kind of like stuff that I used to see that my grandparents used to have in their house. They would have these kinds of things. Like I think my grandmother.
a lot of it probably
My-
is.
Well,
from-
that's why
yeah.
I'm attracted to the butterfly because I remembered my grandmother had 2 butterflies in a glass one like that.
Oh, I love that.
And so I kind of went like, holy smoke, yeah, this is like takes me back. My grandparents had stuff like that, you know, in their houses.
And the frames too. I love that's
Yes.
like for me. It's so I'm
it's so artsy, right?
Thank you. I'm obsessed with thrift store shopping, and this kind of started as just a way for me to
Very
find
cool.
random stuff, and people just give me like that's a rattlesnake head in that jar somebody
Yes.
gave me. That's a human vertebrae somebody gave me.
Wow.
Is that a bear?
Yeah, that's a grizzly.
Grizzly bear. Nice.
And so like this was a pheasant that was
That's so
taxidermy that was falling apart, and
Yeah.
so I just deconstructed it. So almost everything's secondhand,
Grizzly
you know,
bear.
and it's just like my way to like
Grizzly
give
bear.
you press.
You know
from
what
shreds.
my dad used to do? My dad was a bird.
It's pretty cool.
Oh really? What
So
kind of birds?
he all kinds. You named them, he did. He breeded everything. He did from parrots to his final one was nectar birds. He loved like
Oh
birds
my
that
gosh. Yeah.
the nectar stuff.
Yeah.
And he was right into that. He had this one
So
bird that
cool.
from
What's this
South
one?
America. It was very cool, right?
Snapping turtle.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it looks like a turtle.
That was also a gift. Somebody on Marketplace was like, "Hey, I have this." Like, you start to get to be known as like the neighborhood weirdo, and then people are just like, "Hey, so I have this skull. You want it?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, why not?
And yeah, so it's been
It's my anti-test.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's just my
Yes.
way to like decompress, and it's been such a lovely experience the last few years doing the markets, especially being welcomed into this community, because it's like essentially the reason why I like Vancouver now.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, I have a community now, and
Oh,
Yes,
that's cool.
yeah.
I'm
it's
like,
community
people want to
viewing.
buy my art. That's bananas. Like this just was a way to like me have my wine at night, watch some bad TV, don't think about my research, and like, but still be in touch with biology in some way, and an excuse to go to thrift store shopping.
People go crazy. People love it.
Oh,
Love it.
thank
love
you.
it,
That's
love
so
it.
nice.
Yeah, no,
I
it's
really
it's
appreciate
really
it.
good. It's kind of it brings the past back into the future, in the present, right?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I think.
Particularly kids, like if they're like this place, they're usually pretty loud and we're big and you know what I mean. And then kids come in like, there's a shark in that jar. Then they're in.
Did you guys name him yet? Because he is the. Or wait, I think yeah, it's a male.
Oh, it is
He's-
male.
He's
Oh, we weren't sure.
What kind of shark is that?
Dogfish.
Oh, the dogfish.
Mhm.
Okay, they eat a lot of they eat salmon and stuff, don't they? Like they're
I don't-
yeah,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
they- no, 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 I know.
I don't know fish
No,
or
no,
birds.
no. I knew that from talking to my friend who used to fish a lot, and salmon fishing, and that's the one that everybody says they're really violent. And
Oh, sweet.
oh,
They're pretty small, but too.
yeah, but they'll eat the
That's
shit
really
out of
cool.
any like a lot of major fish they go after, right?
That's
And they're trying to keep their either raise the population of the salmon up or bring them down, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's so people they can still fish, right?
Seems like our kind of guy.
Yeah,
I like salmon.
I like salmon.
Sure.
Salmon's good. It's good food.
I'm such a bad Canadian. I don't like salmon.
You don't like salmon? So American
It has
wise,
not-
you
it has
like
not
hot
grown
dogs,
yet.
hamburger steak.
Not even candied salmon.
I
don't
like
know if I've had
my
it.
favorites. You know what I like about
Smoked
we
salmon.
talked about LA.
You don't like smoked salmon?
It's
I like the
fishy.
rainbow for their pizza. The pizza's huge at the rainbow.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure I've had it.
It's like
hasn't
this.
been-
It's huge.
No,
It's
that's
gigantic.
the States for you too, right?
Yeah, the food's huge down there. It's
Yeah,
like-
That's like ordering a burger in the States. How would you like that cooked? What?
Oh
Like
yes.
fucking, I don't know. Like
They
a hamburger.
don't ask that up here.
No,
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
No.
What is there a default then?
Yeah.
I don't eat red meat, so I don't. I
Cooked.
mean, I eat chicken.
Because
Yeah.
you can buy like a raw or rare
What about
hamburger.
steak?
Yeah, do whatever you want. Hamburger's different though.
They
right?
do ask you that about the
It's
steak.
all crunched up. I mean, they'll ask you what you want, but here you can't get it raw.
But
Because you get fucking salmonella or whatever. I
Yeah.
but you're right about the hamburger. Nobody asks you how they want the hamburger.
guess. No.
Down there they do.
They do. I know.
Yeah.
Freak
That's
me out,
interesting. They won't do that. I never thought about
Man.
I
So
that.
didn't-
iced
I
tea
didn't know that.
sucks. You have to ask for sweet tea. It's fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Love you, people. Ah, no Americans are watching. Well,
yeah, just me.
But you
you.
never know. There might be more who watch us. You never know.
Maybe your homies in Philly will watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up my bug group.
Yeah.
The bug group. Good.
Yeah.
Good. You bug people need haircuts? Come
Know
on.
where to
Dan.
come. Yeah.
Yeah. Next time you're in East Van.
Yeah. Next time you East Van, Republic of East Vancouver.
That's right.
I should say, I should plug the Weirdos Market for
Oh, yes, you
because
should.
I
Yeah.
mentioned it. It's I believe the 6th through the 8th, so it's the Friday through Sunday and the first 2 weekends of December.
Right.
And the Friday night is really cool because it's adults only.
Oh,
But then
nice.
it's like in the afternoon on the other days. This is all on their. It's really easy to find on their website. But
Oh, we're gonna push that stuff too.
it's she's amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That's how we know you.
Is it?
Yeah, through her.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I met you guys at because sometimes you do markets at the East Vanity Studios,
Well,
and I think I know. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've been in each other longer than that. I think.
yeah,
Yeah, I've done it. This is my 3rd year. It's amazing.
yeah, such good
It's just
stuff.
such a wonderful market. Everybody, I mean, a lot of the markets I do.
My wallet's from there actually.
Oh yeah,
Motorhead.
I think you showed me that one. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because I'm stoked on it.
There's so many cool artists there, and it's like such a good like variety. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something for everybody.
Everybody.
Like it's not just all like dead stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But
will
there
be
is
a
a
lot
lot
of
of dead
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot
A lot
of
of
dead
secondhand
things.
dead stuff. So
Well, that's cool. Like I said, I love it. I just think
Thank
it's
you.
great.
Everybody
Yeah,
loves
I
it.
love that you
Everybody-
guys-
You gotta have some dead stuff, you know. I mean, you can't always
Yeah.
be live.
No.
mm,
Well, eventually it's all
just
dead.
send me your dead stuff.
Except
if you
for
want.
me. I'm
Alright.
immortal.
I think we're there. I think, aren't we?
So far.
We done? We there? I think.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we are.
Anything else you want to talk about or plug?
I don't think
We're
so.
super stoked you came.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta come back again and talk.
Yeah, that would be
Talk
awesome.
a little more. We'll talk more in depth about bugs and stuff.
Yeah,
I really
well-
wanna
Or
get
maybe
more.
I'll bring some of the animals next time.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Because I have to take the art down before Weirdos. I already told Jeff to give
Yeah,
you guys enough time to find. Oh, by the way, the other artists here, I love these.
Skateboards.
I just love them.
Yeah, he's wicked. Random.
And we
Yeah.
had such a and his art as well. We had such a nice night with the.
It was so fun.
It was so fun, and it was so great because it was like you would never think that. I love that one too with
Yeah.
The goat.
yeah.
Gotacorn.
Yeah, it's
unicorn.
so
It
cool.
looks so cool.
And like, you would never think that it would go together, but it's like
It does.
It goes.
It
Really
was
well
so
together.
good. That was
Yeah.
was
probably
a lot
our
of fun.
best, one of our best shows for sure.
It was super fun.
It was super fun, man.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean, I like those boards too. They're very.
Well, that was one.
I like the other
That was
ones.
the thing
I like
that I
the
thought
blue,
was
the
dope.
The
blue ones.
anglerfish.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
These two guys.
Anything? Oh yeah, and that was so fun that went well together.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I actually brought a head.
Here's the world. Look at this. These two things showed up. You should come to our art shows, actually, everybody out there in
Yeah.
the universe.
Very important.
I guess I should say if you want to reach out to me, I'm the Bug Girl on Instagram. You can always.
That's right.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So check the Bug Girl out on Instagram.
And thank you for having me listening to.
Yeah.
Oh, we
No.
want to listen more.
Geeking out.
No problem. We'll do it again real soon.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome.
All right. Peace out, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't step on those spiders.
Spiders rule.
Yeah, leave bugs alone. They have a place in the plant.